Everybody, April showers bring Maine flowers. Nice rainy morning to watch a movie from the 80s, and I'm going to give you a review. I think it's an important film. It captures the times. It's called Perfect by John Travolta and Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah, they had chemistry together, absolutely, in this movie. But I want to talk about it digs into the exercise and aerobics trend of the 80s. And it was very alarming when it came about because the 70s was all about sitting around on beanbag chairs and listening to long records and just kind of spacing out and maybe having people were smoking pot or whatever. It was very post hippy dippy still. There was a jogging fad and all of that, but it was just like a fad. And then all of a sudden, Jane Fonda comes around, and I think she had turned 40, and she's like, "Oh, we're gonna hit the bricks hard here. We're gonna do aerobics." And all she started releasing videos like, "What's a movie star doing?" Like releasing exercise videos, but all these kind of it was like a trendy thing, and all these people wanted to get in shape all of a sudden, and the workouts were hard and miserable, I thought. But people liked them. I mean, they were dancing to upbeat music, and that was the thing to do. I would say through most of the 80s was to do these hard workout videos. And you can go back and find 80s videos, and lots of actresses did them. And that was the Richard Simmons era. His were a little more fun and lighthearted. And that's why he became popular, because he kind of softened it up. So it wasn't so difficult to feel the burn. So that was a huge difference between the kind of laid back, relaxed 70s and the upbeat, charging, yuppie, make money, be successful 80s. It was a massive shift. So that's kind of the main point or first point I want to make in this video. And then, so a movie came along to capture that trend, and it was called Perfect. In other words, how to be a perfect person. And Rolling Stone magazine was heavily involved in this movie. I cannot believe how much they injected their magazine into this story. And Jan Werner, the publisher of Rolling Stone, played himself in the movie. And they made Rolling Stone look kind of shady and bad in many parts of this film. So I'm surprised they did it, but they did. Okay. Maybe they were just being like ironic about themselves or freedom of the press. I mean, the thing about this movie, it was marketed as a like sexy aerobics gym movie with John Travolta in hot clothing and Jamie Lee in hot leotards. And there is eye candy and sexiness in this movie. And so they marketed that way. And there were videos on MTV. And I think a lot of people went into the theater expecting a really light, sexy movie. And it is on one level, but I like movies that have many layers and that are complex and sophisticated. And this is a movie where they worked a lot on the script and the subtext. They really did. I mean, they're really tapping into deep themes in this movie. And what they didn't show you in the advertisements with all the grinding aerobics was one of the major plots in this film is Travolta is on another story involving like government corruption. And it's complicated. I couldn't even begin to explain it to you, but there's an informant and it deals with freedom of the press issues and this much bigger government corruption story. And I like it. I mean, I like movies to have different layers. It's like when you eat a complex gourmet meal, you're going to have different types of flavors. It's going to be light and heavy and salt and sweet and bitter. And it's a complex movie. That's fine with me. I'm great with that. So I love this movie. It's different. It's a really different movie. There's all kinds of things going on. So on one level, yeah, they were at the peak of their beauty. John Travolta had been famous for dancing movies, and he was still in shape in '85. And at his peak, he's a first-class movie star. And Jamie Lee Curtis, I mean, there's been no one like her. She's just sultry and intelligent and sexy, and she was one of these unique movie stars for a long time. And her movies, a lot of them are treasures. She was able to escape being a scream queen, which is a horror movie actress. And a lot of people get stuck in that. But she was so good at comedy and other aspects that she was able to move, one of the few, to move way beyond horror movies and do all kinds of things. So once again, they have great chemistry. There's a lot of actors that really bring in important smaller roles to this. Like Lorraine Newman is kind of the crux of the whole story, and it's kind of tragic and sad, but she portrays it extremely well. I just know her as being just a funny actress from Saturday Night Live. I didn't know she had this kind of this serious kind of pathos and deep tragic layer. I never really saw her act in a serious movie again, but she nailed it. And Mary Lou Henner, I just know her from TV. They really needed her to come on strong and be on the big screen, a movie star, and deliver the right performance, and she does. So these two actresses nail it, what needs to happen for this movie to work. And I remember it just didn't do that well. People were confused by the movie, but once again, confusion is okay. I personally don't want a straightforward experience. I want the nuance and the layers, and I keep going back to this movie because I get different things out of it. There's some trainers in the gym that almost seem like they're actual trainers, like they're not acting. I wonder if they kind of hired people who work in gym, a couple blonde-haired guys that just seem like they're just training in a gym. They're not really putting on a performance. So I have a feeling they hired people from the gym for parts of this movie. So it's really two different films. There's two different stories he's working on for Rolling Stone. There is a photographer that adds the right needed edge to this movie. She's a good actress and, brings in that right chemistry. And there's lots of really good dialogue. It captures the times there. There's this one scene where they're in a hotel and there's all these fans of Boy George and they're dressed up like Boy George. And he was a really big deal around that time. And they kind of captured the trends and the hairstyles and the looks of the mid 1980s. And they even throw in like going to Mammoth on a ski vacation. I'm not sure why they did that, just to give the movie a little more zip and, well, now we're going skiing, and kind of a little more sexiness in the snow. I mean, they had a big budget, you could tell, and they were throwing in lots of things. I mean, they even go to like in Chippendales nightclub, so they're having a male stripper for the ladies in the audience. I mean, there's lots of... they're pleasing the audience in many different ways. And I think the criticism was, well, they're just trying to do too much with this. But like I said, I think it was just a current movie capturing the times, and they did it very well. And it's thought-provoking because it even gets into freedom of the press issues and confidential sources. And there's a lot of like brain candy and eye candy there. So absolutely find the movie Perfect. I mean, it's out there on, I saw it on Amazon Prime, and it's on YouTube for free, actually. And you're definitely going to have a really good, I think movies used to be better, well crafted, and they weren't so, I don't know how to explain it. They were more complex, and the scripts were more complex, and I liked a lot of the dialogue. So I'll leave it at that. Kind of look into the aerobics 80s craze of the 80s, and I would find some of these old exercise tapes and watch them. Even Zsa Zsa Gabor had an exercise tape. It's like the funniest thing you've ever seen. And I mean, Ali McGraw had a yoga tape, and Sandy Duncan had a fitness tape, and it was like this really big deal, like yoga. This was the era of the VCR, and you would pop in a videotape and do an hour sweating to aerobics with some famous actress. And a lot of the fitness gurus were huge, like Denise Austin, but Susan Powter, but they seemed to fade away, and I don't know what happened to them. But anyway, I'll leave it with that. And I guess one more thing, I would watch the music video Physical by Olivia Newton-John. I mean, she was able to capture that trend and do a really funny video about working out in a gym, and a great sexy song, and she nailed it. And that really made Olivia Newton-John an even bigger star than she was at the time. So she did it just right. So I've given you lots of fun little tidbits from the 80s to check out. You're going to trip out when you, and what the hell, man, just watch a Richard Simmons video. Watch him dance into the oldies. He sold millions of these things, and I'll leave it at that. So I'm Mike D at downpreparatory.lane.com. Support my work, like and subscribe, buy some jewelry from my shop, and I'll leave it at that. Take care. Bye.